Hello, my name's Chris from Game on Oz in Australia. I'm here with Vladimír from GoldKnights, and tonight we're here to talk about The Last Oricru. And Vladimír, what's your position at the development studio?
Hi. So my position at GoldKnights is executive producer. So I'm basically doing deals with publishers and putting the team together and own a game vision together with our creative director and game director Pavel, my business partner.
Okay, and how many are in the whole team, or is it just the two persons there?
No. We have now around 40 people.
40, wow.
The team started at like 2015. Pavel was a small crew of people who were kind of junior in the industry, not necessarily as engineers or as artists, but in the industry. And I am in the industry for almost 20 years. So when I came back to Prague after living in Denmark and running studio there, I was looking for some interesting project to participate on. I was helping here guys on Beat Saber, for example, etc. And then I found Pavel with this project, and I could see a huge potential in there. So basically, we started working together in beginning 2019. We restructured the whole game in a way that it's really interesting for our target audience, that we are creating not only a game but the own IP,
Yes.
something unique and creative enough to give us freedom to develop on that. And then I started to lure in my friends from industry, my other veterans or senior guys, and basically we bump up the team from 12 guys to 40-ish.
Yeah, right. That's awesome. And what's the game development scene like in the Czech Republic at the moment? Is there many studios?
There is quite a lot. Like we have guys from Warhorse with Kingdom Come.
Oh, yes.
We have Beat Saber or Beat Games. Now it's not Beat Games anymore. It's Facebook.
Yep.
We have actually quite a big studios here, and I would say for 10 million country or 10 million citizens or guys around, it's quite a lot of successful titles. So
Okay.
it looks quite well.
That's good. And now The Last Oricru. So tell me about this game.
So The Last Oricru is our vision, let's say, how the modern RPG should look like nowadays. Obviously not a modern RPG done from hundreds of people, but rather like smaller team, tens of people.
Yep.
But it is RPG for, like, we can see quite a lot of people who likes the storytelling in there, who likes the challenging combat systems. So we made I would say quite coherent trademark which aims on all of this. So if you like story, and we have like dynamic storytelling, if you like challenging combat, if you like to play it in co-op with your buddy on couch, if you like rather more replayability and shorter sessions and so on, then I believe Last Oricru is for you.
And it's got co-op?
Yes. Co-op is actually one of features I've been missing a lot in action RPGs. And honestly, for some action RPG, it's quite tricky to make co-op, because it's not just turn it on, but you need to have enough agenda for both players. So if one player is talking somewhere for ages, second would be bored. So building a co-op RPG or RPG with strong co-op,
Yep.
It's something you need to do from very beginning and kind of incorporate it into the system. So the second player has always something to do. Also, it doesn't break the system, so you don't collide in your reactions and so on. So we build it up in a way that we really believe it's how the co-op in this type of games should look like. As an example, like it is primarily single player game, but in co-op you can solve some situations differently. So for example, if you fight with a boss in a second level. It's pretty like hard guy. But then
Yep.
in two players, one of you can lure the boss under the gate, second can kick down the gate and just kill the boss instantly, which makes it much more easy. So you can find situations like this. You can find spells which you can cast through the
Yep.
second player and magnifies them. You can find a lot of options which are hidden there, kind of for two
Okay.
players.
All right. So let's have a quick look at the game's trailer, and then we'll come back shortly.
Ever had one of those days when you wake up on an unknown planet after being frozen for 350 years? Dumb question. Can't wait to find out how the hell I got here. And just what the hell is going on. So, I get involved. Maybe I can even influence the outcome of some things. I soon realize my own decisions have a huge impact. And isn't that what it's all about? Being in charge of my own destiny. And the destiny of this entire world. Wardania is full of secrets, hidden technologies, battles to be fought. Stories to be told. My stories. I am the Last Oricru.
Okay, and we're back with Vladimir from GoldKnights, and we're talking about The Last Oricru. Just watched the trailer. It looks absolutely magnificent. So the world of Wardania. Tell me about that.
So the world of Wardania, as you could see from the trailer, it's a combination of sci-fi and medieval world. It starts actually in quite medieval environment, but further you progress through the game, more sci-fi elements you start using or you start exploring. It's not some deadly realm, but the world of Wardania is place where just now is a big war happening,
Yep.
and you are in the middle of this conflict, and basically only based on your choice or like based on your actions you can develop the conflict and affect the future of those races. And not only that, after the war you
Yep.
can also be the one who come up with a peaceful solution or brings the peace in the end, or you can just destroy the whole planet, maybe.
Yeah.
What I'm trying to show you is that you as a player are really like in the middle of a lot of
The conflict.
actions and things happening around you, and only your reactions on that really develops the story and the game.
So it's really player choice driven. Then, like obviously you've got some branching pathways and narrative, but it's up to the player then to play essentially how they would react to each situation as it comes along.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I know it might be hard for players to believe because there is a lot of titles telling that they are like really dynamic and there are a lot of branching decisions and so on. But we really spent a lot of time on this. Out of our 40 guys, we have like 3 writers who only write the story and
Yep.
and dialogues, and it's not as we have like 10 books in the game. We have something like 2 books of text, and
Yes.
in one playthrough you might see only 1/3,
Yeah.
one and a
Wow.
half
Okay.
maximum. But the tricky thing is, there is like really like tens of branches, and then for each way through those branches, it needs to still make sense, And even we don't want player to decide in the beginning. We would want to let you
Kind of
reconsider your
feel.
decisions.
Yeah.
So once you decided those guys are not the guys you want to help them anymore, you can still switch the side, and it still needs to make sense. So there is really a lot of work connected with this, but
Yep.
we really think it's a different experience.
And in the game, I saw kind of snippets of 3 factions: the Naboru, the Ratkin, and the Broken. And you can side with one or many of those. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. You can side with 1, maximum 2.
Okay.
3 is hard. You can also annoy everyone. That's more easy. But yes, basically you're in a conflict between Naboru, who are the let's say the rulers of that world, and then Redkins, who are more like their slaves, and then there is this third party of Broken Army, led by one or commanded by one guy in the background, which is trying to basically use that conflict to their own.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah. So as in unfortunately in normal world, there is usually a third hidden party.
Yes.
Having benefit from that.
Yeah, I mean, I've played a fair number of RPGs over the years, and it's always beneficial to have an odd number of factions. A lot of games will just have the 2, and it's order or chaos. But games that have that third element, and it doesn't matter the genre of that, just having 3 factions just gives you a bit of versatility, and sometimes you feel like you're in a mean mood, and sometimes you feel like you're in a positive good mood. So it's very cool to have that third option.
Definitely. That's a great point, actually, because two sides give you or don't give you not only enough options for the storytelling, but also for the gameplay. Because for us, or in our case, we use like the rock paper scissors principle in gameplay as well. Like one party, if you side with them, they have pretty good weapons against the other party, but the third party is stronger against them. So
Yeah.
it also motivates you to change weapons, change play styles,
Yep.
which is quite healthy for RPG games.
Yeah, that's great. And I've just saw some voice acting or heard some voice acting in the trailer there. Is it completely fully voice acted, or is there only cutscenes, or how does that work?
It is fully voice acted. Yes.
Oh, that's great.
Originally we were thinking about some more let's say like a cheaper solution, but then we figure out that the story is such important driving element through the whole gameplay experience that we really want those emotions in every piece. So we found quite good actors and really like even worked with them to achieve this.
Yeah, that's really cool. Because I like it depends on the story in an RPG whether full voice acting gets me in or just enough. And generally, probably the last half a dozen or so that have had voice acting in just the cutscene, it's kind of you're invested in the cutscene, then you kind of disconnect a little bit, play the mechanics of the game, and then get reinvested in the story again. So that's quite a cool design feature to have, and the ability for you guys to have that full voice acting. That's great.
Yeah, it is great, and for us, it really works very well. So.
Now, with the being an action RPG, I love the combat that I've seen so far. So we'll get to bosses in a sec, but just on the general kind of combat, leading up to quests, etc. You've got melee, one-handed, two-handed, and magic. What kind of magic is there? Is there schools of magic, or is it just magic and it has a set of skills?
It is in our case. It's quite specific because, as I mentioned, it's the whole world is combination of sci-fi and medieval. Let's say.
Yep.
From some reason, like 350 years ago, technology stopped working there. So those pieces, what you can find as a magic, you might figure out it's a technology in the end, or hidden technology, which still does work. So it is a bit different approach to the magic, but in the end, if you want to categorize it very easily, we still have like 3 basic schools. Each race has his own way how to use that hidden technology, and then as a player you can find equipment from those different schools. So you don't invest into fire magic as a school, but you find more of those items if you lean towards the race which is using fire magic. So it's more about the story decisions and amount of equipment you find within that story path.
Okay. And it said, did I hear right that skills-based progression in the game?
Yeah. Yes. We have basically skill point for each level up, and then you can put it into relatively few attributes, and those attributes are unlocking a lot of equipment. So basically, we're trying to, rather than having like uh, tens of different attributes, have
Yep.
a smaller number, but with quite big impact on equipment you can use, magic you can use, how much you can carry, and so on.
Okay. And with the weapon system, can you use any weapon, or is it faction specific, or how does the weapon systems work?
So as I said, there is the rock paper scissor scheme or principle. So you can use any weapon, but against different enemies, those weapons are, or different races, they are differently efficient. For like from top-down point of view or RPG point of view, we have like 6 main weapon classes.
Okay.
It's like sword, axe, double hand,
Yep.
hammer, and a few others. And those have very different animations, move sets, also timings. So with hammer, you are really like tank, but also with against the fast enemies, it's quite hard to find the right window of opportunity to hit and not getting smashed. So it brings quite different play feel. And on top of that, there is the magic, which can be incorporated in weapons as well as a special attack. So you can have like weapons casting some lightning bolts and so on.
Okay, that's awesome. Yes, and when I was looking at the combat, I saw red arrows. So if there was a monster to the side, there was a kind of red arrow. Is that like a threat meter or a threat direction arrow?
Yes. There it is. An additional information for player. We don't have some we don't have some heavy stealth principles. There are some small missions where you should use rather stealth approach if you want to succeed. But in general, this is more about you to handle correctly the situation. Like that you get too close to some enemy and you're still fighting with another, so you should rather step back and not fight against two guys at the same time, and so on.
Yeah. And with boss fights, it kind of looks like a Souls-like difficulty.
We definitely those games we like, and they are close to our heart. So yes, we are trying to achieve a similar feeling when it is hard, it is unforgiving, but it is also fair, and it is skill-based. So yes, with bosses, you really need to read their moves because one or two hits can just kill you.
Yeah.
And yes, then you need to reach the same point and collect experience points if you want to still level up. So.
And when you die, what happens? Is it like you have to reload, or do you respawn and come back and get some experience back, or how does death work?
Yeah, there is no reload in our game. It is actually very much incorporated in the gameplay loop and also in a story. You figure out you have some weird tech belt around you, and that belt makes you respawning again and the whole world around you. And we play with this principle a lot, even in a dialogue. So someone sends you somewhere because you can die as many times you want, and so we kind of use this principle even in the story. But yes, in a gameplay there is no loading. You always just reborn and try to recollect your souls.
Okay.
Also, as I mentioned before, some stealth mission, it might be also a bit confusing because we don't have even missions in a way that you fail the mission and you need to reload. Like if I give you an example, you should hide some weapon in the beginning of the game. If you manage to hide it, there is another story branch which
Okay.
unlocks for you, and you can go in that direction. And if you don't manage to hide it, the game doesn't stop. It just continues from there, and you end up as a prisoner or whatever. So
Yeah.
so there is never reloading or some game over screen.
That's really cool. That's awesome. And so when you've got a friend join in co-op, so if I'm playing the game and I'm at, let's say, level 5, and they've got their own game and it's couch co-op effectively, does their character stay persistent when they come to my game? And then if they gain a level in my game and go back to theirs, how does the connection work there?
Yeah, so we actually like few years ago or 2 years ago when we started this, we had multiple different versions and we really heavily tested it. As an ideal solution for our type of game, which is really like story driven, is that there is one player who is hosting the game basically,
Yep.
who is owning that game, and second player can hop on, hop off anytime. But you have shared inventory, so if the player hops off, he or she doesn't drag away any items or
Sure.
anything. It's just like I join you, we can play together 2 hours, then I have to go,
Yep.
and you can continue. And then when I join you next time, the game levels you up automatically to your level.
Ah.
So we are always even, and we can play from that moment together. You know, there is like always some trade-off. Like the second player is, let's say, like additional muscle for you.
Yeah.
So he cannot like make some decisions, story decisions, or affect some dialogues. Otherwise, it was very confusing. So it's really like an additional muscle for you. But even that makes a lot of fun situations, you know. And as I said, the game is built around replayability. So often, you know, one player plays as the additional secondary player, and then you just switch for the next playthrough, and you're leading the game, and I'm just you know, helping. So
Yeah.
so it works actually very well for our type of game and size of the game.
When you're playing co-op and your friend dies, can you quickly run over and resurrect them and get them back in the fight, or are they kind of out for that fight?
There's actually a risk-reward mechanic involved in this. So if you die, you can reborn in the beginning or on the checkpoint or
Yeah. Okay.
terminal, how we call it, or your body can help you, and then you're reborn with more health, and also you don't need to run across half of the level.
Yeah. Sure. Yeah.
To that situation.
Awesome.
So it's actually quite interesting because the game obviously dynamically react on two players. So if second player hop on, the difficulty ramps up, and you know, some enemy starts using like different attacks and so on. So it's like if one player dies and don't resurrect the second player quickly, there is quite a low chance to survive for the
Yeah.
second player as well, because
Okay.
it's quite hard afterwards.
Yeah. And then, so if I'm playing single player on a boss fight and I'm failing over and over, and I bring my friend in, does the difficulty of the enemy scale up because there's two of us now?
It's not like it's not like a same scale for everyone.
Yeah.
We obviously tweak it from situation to situation, so it is still playable and fun. But yes, in general, it is like that. If you ask your friend for help, the difficulty scales up. On the other hand, the game works in a way that, like, if you really cooperate, it is easier for you than in one player.
Sure. Yeah.
But if you just run both of you on the other end of the level, then yes, it's usually too hard.
Yeah. Fair enough. And what's been the most challenging process of developing the game to this point so far?
There is multiple things, but from feature point of view, it was definitely the dynamic story and dynamic game structure, because we really wanted to achieve a point where it is not about few decisions. We just brand some dialogue, and that ends up the same after like 20 minutes of gameplay. We really want to take you to different play experience and the overall story flow. So it was very tough. We had to build our own in-house system for that, and it's obviously still quite hard to final polish it. So every branch is really makes total sense. So
Yep.
we have quite a lot of testers. We have our like small community of focus testers who are testing it and playing it and giving us feedback. So this is, from features point of view, definitely the most tricky, or the most difficult part. From
Yep.
studio's point of view, it's always hard to come to studio, which is small indie studio, and you start to showing them like the double A, or let's say like, you know, the commercial
Yeah.
quality bar, and you have to kind of switch their mindset so they are really like on that level, and just bumping up from 12 to 40 people is
Yep.
always quite a challenge. So
Yeah. Well, I can certainly say from my point of view, having seen a lot of RPGs over the years, your game looks magnificent and beautiful in aspects, and I can't wait to kind of explore that world as well.
thank you. That's great to hear. Always, this is a bit of energy which helps. So thank you
Yeah.
for those words, and
That's all right.
hopefully you will say the same after playing it full scale next year.
Exactly. And what's been the most rewarding part of the process so far?
So the most rewarding part was for us, and I, as I said, like I'm in the industry for 20 years. I worked with Activision, with Sony, but I would say for team in general, the most rewarding was to start working with Koch Media as a like really valuable, highly valuable partner, and to start to be part of Prime Matter, which is a new exclusive or premium label
Yep.
within this publisher house. So for us, that was the, you know, the great reward for our quite hard work for last
Yeah.
years.
Oh, that's excellent. From what I've seen so far, it looks like you've got some really good progress. So, are you at the alpha stage? Or are you going to be in alpha for a while, or what's the kind of short-term roadmap kind of looking like, without giving too much away?
We are between alpha and beta now. We are still trying to not hurry up too much with the game, because,
Yep.
as I said, there are some quite unique features which needs to be properly polished. So we are not at beta right now, but we will be definitely released next year. So we are not
Okay.
far from beta as well.
From my point of view, as just one guy that in Australia that plays games, take your time. This is your game. You know, get it right from how you feel it's right.
Yeah, that's, you know, this is always tricky, because obviously it's in the end every game. If you want to not only build a game but build a successful studio, it is about some commercial success. It is about you know, the right amount of investments for the expected value and so on. But I believe we are really bumping up the quality of the game, and I can see it every month.
Yep.
In a way that we can take our time and really polish it properly. So.
Yeah, I mean, I saw I was sent an alpha gameplay footage with, I think, Toby's voiceover, and then I saw the teaser last week, and I could see a difference in quality just between those two videos. So I think you're progressing really well.
Cool.
And
it's great that it was visible, and it's definitely not the final stage. So.
it's exciting. I'm excited to see more. So, and what's next? You know, again, without getting too much details, what's kind of next on the hit list for The Last Oricru?
Right now, as like from the development point of view, we are heavily focused on combat, to make the combat interesting enough, and then obviously the different consoles versions, because we are on next gen or Gen 9 version, but there are still some things we want to polish and properly tweak on consoles. So those are our next goals, and then we have a few hidden things I cannot talk about.
Yeah, that's all right. No worries, that's good. You got to keep it to your chest. And so I heard consoles. So are you planning PC and then just next gen, or will you support current gen or old gen, I guess, now as well?
Yes, just next gen, because honestly, we there was a lot of like analysis around that, and I've been thinking a lot about that. Also, our publisher was, but we decided to go rather for a polished experience and focus
Yep.
on gameplay than focusing on optimizing for the old gen or current gen, or
Sure.
I don't know how.
Yeah, I'm calling it old gen now.
Yeah, so old gen, because it's really like, especially for co-op game, because co-op is obviously more performance heavy. It would be probably affecting negatively the gameplay
Sure.
as well.
Yep, no, that's fair enough. Oh, well, thank you very much for your time, Vladimir. It's really cool to see, and that teaser trailer just got me hooked well and truly, and I can't wait to see more of Silver's adventures and the branching stories and the factions and the combat, and especially the boss fights with co-op. So you're on the right track from me.
Thank you very much as well. Looking forward to see it in Australia, because I have a bunch of friends there, so I can
Good.
at least let them know to see it.
Excellent. No worries. I shall do. And from all of us at Game On Oz, thank you for your time.
Thank you as well. Bye bye.